Notre Dame football might be coming off of a 65-7 victory this past weekend over the Purdue Boilermakers, but there were some losses along the way. Head coach Marcus Freeman spoke to the media on Monday and talked a little bit about the updates on injuries for the team. Who's out, who's in, who's coming back soon, and how does Notre Dame go from here? Let's start with the good news, and this is a really big piece of information. Wide receiver, sophomore Jordan Faison, who was potentially going to be back for the Purdue game, dealing with an ankle injury in Game 1 against the Texas A&M Aggies, is a full go, according to head coach Marcus Freeman. This is a massive news for a team that has struggled, to say the least, at the wide receiver position so far. Mr. Faison started at the Z position outside during week 1, and he brings a dynamic that Notre Dame honestly just doesn't have enough of right now. A guy that can create something after the catch, a guy that has creativity in the open field. Notre Dame has struggled to make explosives during the first 3 games of the season. Jordan Faison, sophomore, also dynamite lacrosse player for Notre Dame, is one of the best bets to be able to make something out of nothing at times or make something into more. That is the type of dynamic that he brings. So good news to hear. He is a full go from that ankle injury. Notre Dame did not hear as much great news about the other players on the offensive side of the ball dealing with injuries. However, specifically on the offensive line, as we talked about in the past, Charles Jagas already out for the year due to injury. Notre Dame is playing with one starter down even before the season kicked off. Unfortunately, they'll be dealing without a couple more starters here. Both starting right guard, Billy Schrouth, and offensive center, Ashton Craig, were lost during the game this past week against Purdue with injuries. One positive note was Billy Schrouth is expected to miss several weeks, according to head coach Marcus Freeman, dealing with an ankle injury, but it actually sounded pretty positive to me. When we first saw that injury on TV, I thought that it was going to be something very serious. So it's good that he is expected back after a few weeks. I believe that we will see Billy Schrouth again this year, which is going to be big because you could argue that he is Notre Dame's best offensive lineman right now. The other big piece of bad news for Notre Dame is that starting Viper defensive end Jordan Botelho will be out also for the entirety of the season due to a knee injury. This one really stunk, man. After expecting a breakout from Botelho each of the last 2 years, he finally was playing his best football at Notre Dame. So very unfortunate to see him lost for the season. Some positive note, sort of. Joshua Burnham is expected back sometime in the near future, although there is not an exact timeline. Sounds like almost a week-to-week proposition for a guy like Joshua Burnham. When asked about some potential replacements, at least to make up for some of these reps, true freshman, 5-star defensive end Bryce Young, who we saw this past Saturday, was mentioned by head coach Marcus Freeman. Junior Toya Lamaka, junior defensive end, was also mentioned by Coach Freeman as well. Again, not the most ideal situation to lose valuable players, but when you have accumulated as much talent and acquired as much talent at the edge position, I do think Notre Dame will be able to soften this one as well. So not ideal to lose good football players, but I think Notre Dame has developed the depth enough on both lines that they'll be able to move forward and be successful. Just how successful, we'll see on Saturday, and we'll highlight that the rest of the week. Thank you all for joining me today, and as always, you know the deal. Go Irish.